tends to just be very relaxed environment.
Okay, is it a real thing? Is it a real movement in Ireland? I was aware there was a few social media pages or whatnot, but I didn't know if there was actual a real bricks and mortar or flesh and bone network behind that.
Yeah, we're going since 2017. So I mean, we try and stay under the radar. I mean, we've been at most protest marches, we've been at a lot of those things, but um, we've a rule of not going in club colours because we don't want to detract from actual messages of whatever is there. Because as soon as someone sees one of either our flags or our banners, whatever protest we're at will immediately lose its value, and that's all the media. I mean, one of the lads wore a fucking face mask to one of the marches, and that's it. We were all over the newspaper. But yeah, we've been to most of the protests. So yeah, I mean, it's a slow growing process. We've had quite a number of people apply, but we don't, it's not something that we take everybody, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, take another minute and just outline, for anybody who doesn't know what your solution or your group is, and how it works and how you see it working. Yeah, and then we'll take a round of questions.
Wrong time of the fucking day for me, to be honest with you, because I'm trying to bathe a load of kids here, to be fair.
No worries, no worries. Okay, well, you've got that minute if you want. Otherwise, we'll just see if anybody's got any questions. Now, I'm letting somebody speak here who hasn't been on before, so I might have to mute. So, comments on what you've, well, don't think they're going to have heard because they've just joined us. So, let's see, Poison Dubstep, you've got the floor. Do you want to introduce yourself? No pressure. Um, so we'll go back to Frank Irish and see if anybody's got any questions for Frank Irish. Um, how does one go? I've got one. How does one go about finding your organization?
Telegram tends to be the best way now. Prior to that, we were on the
Hey, Mr. Start of that. Mr. Start of that.
Oh, Telegram is the best way now. And when we're looking for a new, we'll put it up.
Yeah, is it and
Go
it's
ahead.
strictly men only, isn't it? It's strictly
Correct.
men
Yes.
only.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Any further qualifications in terms of like you?
I mean, everybody has a very.
Sorry, any further?
It's a very lengthy vetting process. So I mean, it's nearly a year and a bit to get actually in, if that makes sense. But I mean, it's just mainly you want to protect Western values. That's really the only core kind of belief that everybody shares.
Okay. How could So, what is the Telegram handle to reach you on, or to make first contacts to start kick the process off for anybody who would be interested? If you want to say what it is.
It's at Proud Boys Era.
Mm-hmm. EIRE. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, I'll
Appreciate
put a
it.
link.
Okay.
I'll text you a link anyway, so you have it. But
Okay. And one thing, I'm gonna remain impartial, so I'm not gonna like promote links. I'm not gonna get into, but if you can, on the chat, my group chat, you're entitled to put the link up. If you've put forward a solution, you're entitled to put. Yeah, I'll give you the opportunity to put a link up. Yeah. So
no, I
that's how
wasn't.
I'm not going.
I'll
I don't want. I don't want.
yeah, I get you, man. I'll send it to you directly so you can have a look at it
Yeah.
and scope it out. I wouldn't expect anybody to promote it.
No problem. No problem. It's only because like there might be some solutions that I don't like, but I'm still going to give people the two minutes to speak about it, and then they're going to say, "Well, you promoted another solution, and you're not promoting my solution." So I just want to remain impartial and it's more I'm more of a facilitator. Even though some of the solutions I do, I'm going to hear, I'm going to like them. Okay, cool. Any questions for Frank or comments that would take his idea forward? Um, and if not, we'll move on to, and we can come back to that as well. Okay, so would
Jump
anybody
off anyone
else like to
listening
put
on.
forward a solution?
Yeah, well, if nobody comes up, I could speak about my experience about one of the, not really solution, but just the kind of idea, not idea, like, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's an activity, something you do or something you promote, right?
Not really activity or I promote. Like I thought like I would point out the subject of the food consumption.
Yeah, and I mean, do you have an invitation for action?
It is kind of invitation for the actions. So in the end of the day, we all
Okay,
have
off
to.
you go. Yeah.
All right, I'll try in 2 minutes. So yeah, like in like from my experience and my point of view, like I think like majority of people doesn't realize how much unneeded food they consume and how bad it actually is. Like I'm not on the narrative side to become vegan or vegetarian, keto diet, alkaline diet, or something like that. Like I was vegetarian for a year. It didn't work for me. I need my meat, but like that's for every single person different. Like you don't have to like restrict yourself. In my belief, you don't have to restrict yourself like very badly with the certain foods or something. I just want to point out like the healthy food is much cheaper and like body needs like less food if it's quality food. Like it's like, let's say like vegetables with the steak for two persons would be like 12 euros. If you buy it's just the, I'm coming from the money side, it's not all the sides. Like steak with the vegetables for two persons would be like 12 euros when the pizza is 20 euros and you would never stop eating it until you are finished, and it's just basically too much. Like, and like I understood that we don't need that much food. Like when I was on the diet, not everyone have to go on the diet, but like afterwards after that diet I realized that we consume too much food. Like for example, now I have in my fridge only the cheese, eggs, red meat, fish, and like green tea and rice in cupboard. I know that sounds like a little bit crazy, but that's what I have. Like people getting addicted to bad food because they are full of the addictive conservants and like taste improvers and stuff like that. Like I haven't have like mayo, ketchup, or any soft drink or canned food for like 3 years. I just like why I pointed out like there's like 3 points. First of all, it's benefit you because you become healthier when you stop consuming the conservants and all those colorants and all the shit what's in those cans. Like the second is like you save money by reducing amount of food that you eat. And finally, like most important is like you are not dependent on the supermarkets, which we was talking before, that we have to become like self-sustainable and grow our own food. Like I'm not too much in the vegetables, it's up to everyone else, but like you are not dependent on supermarkets because like you can buy the cheese making kits and you can make the cheese yourself. You can buy the kefir grains and make the nice drink or yogurt. You can find local farmer and get the eggs and meat from him. Like that way supporting local small businesses. Like that's where I'm going. Like people doesn't realize how much food they actually consume and it's not needed, and then people getting like sick with the all the heart diseases and stuff like that, and they're blaming everything else, not the food, when the real problem is the food that they consume.
Okay, very good. That's about maybe two or 3 minutes. But cool. No, thank you very much. So, round of questions. Anybody want to ask a question for more information? Give it a headline. Help her along. Help her feed along by taking that solution, that activity, and running with it and adding to it.
Are we saying shop local, support local farmers, small businesses, local butchers, bakeries, that sort of thing, and avoid the big corporate type organisations? Is that a fair way of putting it?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I mean. And the less you use canned food and all like that bad food, you don't even would need like local like business. You would need just like couple farmers to come in touch with, or the community which grows something, and that way you support them with the money or wherever you exchange something for that food. Like, for example, like I'm not vegetarian, I don't eat vegetable. It's not vegetarian, it's like I don't eat veg, but I could grow veg and exchange it for the meat and stuff like that, that kind of way.
That's a really good idea. I mean, it's also a good way of networking as well. If you're bartering, so to speak, with a local farmer for meat with grown veg, and you can pass that knowledge on to another person who could barter something else. So you could start your own network through that in that manner, and totally bypass the supermarket. Sorry, I'm just thinking aloud.
No problem at all, Padva. Thanks for that. Do you want to come back, Ifrita? Or anybody else?
I said everything. Like I know it sounds crazy, but like people don't understand how few food you need. Like if you eat proper food, yeah, that will be it for now.
Okay, so I'm going to piggyback on that idea of eating healthy food and sourcing it locally, and trying to, maybe you weren't really driving at that, but this is something that Padva was trying to get away from the supermarket reliance on supermarkets. The other thing is that I'm inspired by is with sourcing food locally, you cut down a lot on packaging. It's shocking the amount of packaging that gets created and generated by one person living in a city, going to the supermarket every day to buy ready meals, for example. Some ready meals and some cooked meals. Even with myself, who I cook some of the time and sometimes get ready meals, I'm filling a box with recyclable material every couple of days. And then a lot of the place that I'm living in doesn't have any. The landlord doesn't support recycling at all, so we have to do that against his will almost, because he's almost against it. And lots of my housemates here put stuff. The bin, basically 70%, 2/3, 3/4 of the bin is just packaging that could be recyclable stuff. And if you're going a less sort of like packaged big food system, distribution system, massive distribution system, where you're sort of like getting your food closer to the source, you don't need as much packaging, because there's less of a journey, less chance of it getting damaged. A lot of the packaging is unnecessary anyhow. You could just go and pick up the carrots and take them back in a your veg in a cloth bag, for example. And this whole idea of perpetual growth is completely unsustainable for the planet. So we need to start putting back, and one of the ways to pull back is changing our buying patterns so that we generate less packaging. and consume less packaging. Probably more than 2 minutes there. Okay, so passing it back. Questions or comments or further piggybacking or a different solution or activity that we're doing.
Can I expand? Okay. Can I expand on what Rita said?
Absolutely, that's what we're here for. Yeah.
Absolutely agree with her that you don't need huge amounts of food, and you definitely don't need huge amounts of canned food. Like her, I did try vegetarianism, but nope, not for me either. And in parallel with what you said about it being much more environmentally responsible to source your food, etc., locally, there's also another kind of health benefit that eating natural food of the right kind also strengthens, strengthens your immune system. So I wonder, is there a space there for disseminating information in relation to you can actually make yourself healthier, you can strengthen your immune system in a very practical, real way by eating healthy food?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any further piggybacking, taking forward the idea, or do you want to go with something different?
No, I just wanted to add and expand on what Afrita said, that there's a whole kind of organic connection between what we eat, how we feel, and the state of our health. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'm going to make a pitch for involvement in civic life, which is part of a broader. It's a more general way of looking at involvement in politics. Politics is just one way of looking at involvement in getting involved in civic life. Getting involved in how your bodies and local responsibilities in your community, because that, if you think about it, that's where politicians start. That's where politics started. The city states of Greece, people, just small city states, people getting involved in their local communities and their local towns. There would have been towns by our standards, in terms of the numbers of people living in them. Debating ideas that what's best for the local, what's best for the town, what's best for the community, and obviously representing interests. But of course, we're not into that. We're into looking after the people. But if you don't, here's the thing. I hear people saying, "Well, just don't get involved in politics, just ignore it." But if you step out and leave a vacuum, somebody else is going to fill that vacuum, and somebody else is going to be making decisions on your behalf without you in the room. So, as Steve Bannon says, "Not in the room, not in the deal." We need to put ourselves in the room. Now, having said that, I'm in a big city here, and there's not, in a way, the big city is sort of like the opportunities for civic life are less and less per head of population. But if I was living in the small town in County Tyrone, where I lived most of last year, then I would be getting more involved in, and I did want to get involved in civic groups, set up my own groups, like for Irish language and history, and also get involved in hobby groups, local history groups, look to take leadership, look to take stand for council, and those sorts of things. Because then the more you do that, then the more you can say, I'm taking responsibility for how life is lived in this town and how my life is going to look like. And if I'm not going to do that, somebody else is going to do that, and there's no guarantee that they're going to have my best interests at heart. So that's probably way above 2 minutes. So a plea, an appeal to get involved in civic life. Full stop. I'm letting Liam in there. Hi, Liam.
How are you doing, Conor? Now, sorry, I'm a bit late to the
No worries.
yes, I just caught the end of you.
Yeah, so after somebody puts forward a solution then, or an activity, then we have a round of questions, and the questions are questions for information or to move the idea forward. But we're going to suspend judgment at this phase. Guys, could you just mute? Because I'm getting an echo there. Yeah, just for a second. Just like on mute until you're speaking. Sorry?
My thing, I've been trying to press that thing where it just mutes and it just seems to be stuck.
Okay, I'll help you out there. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so
because I can mute people as well.
Cool. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Getting involved. Am I live there?
You keep muting yourself there, Liam. Just be careful because you muted yourself twice in the past 5 seconds.
Okay, but I'm live now. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. You're live now.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. No. Yeah. Just saying, I totally concur with what you said there. It's kind of one thing that the socialists kind of did well over the last while is that they kind of infiltrated all sorts of groups with their own agenda. But yeah, if we don't kind of get involved with local politics, then of course, the vested interests will dominate it and steer things. And from what I found, being involved in my own local community council and stuff like that, like just by having one person in there, all of a sudden it changes things entirely. Like, and you can get the word out to people. I'm sorry, I'm just worried I'm going mute there because my symbol says I'm mute.
No, you're live.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So yeah, to kind of have people just getting on councils, because most like community councils as well, like you can barely fill the membership anyway, but they are at the kind of the forefront of selling us out to Europe because of all the leader funding. And when I was on the council a couple of years ago, basically they were going to take out an 8 million quid loan to put in a few footpaths in Balcarra, my local village, like. And if it wasn't for me kind of arguing against it and getting them to all see a bit of sense, they would have put that to a meeting, and they would have voted. And it would have gone ahead, and the whole village would have been in debt loads. But what did happen though was that we actually ended up. We used to pay for our water, and we had nearly £1 million saved, and because of the kind of the few kind of women that are on the old women that are on the council that are kind of half by their husband that's in Fine Gael or whatever that, like they got everyone to vote against water charges, and I reckon that because of that they're saying like it's it costs about 50,000 a year to run the local water scheme. So like in a couple of years they were saying it looks like we'll have to sell out to the municipal district and all that and lose control over water and have it privatized and everything, like. So but by just being on these kind of councils you can definitely slow down the rate of European penification or whatever that, and potentially actually raise good issues and also just learn how to be a bit better civic actor.
That's very important. I mean, I didn't. That's possibly the most important, even in the long. That's a very well. The other reasons are important too, but the experience that you gain in terms of like policies and procedures, and just in terms of the fact that you can be an agent for change. You can be your own, develop your own sense of agency, your own abilities to get involved in things. Would you just explain my question? Okay, so let's say the 2 minutes have gone, right? So I'm going to ask. We'll have a round of questions. And I'm going to kick it off because I'm really curious about this. What, in a nutshell, in 30 seconds, how does local government work in the Republic of Ireland? Because unless I'm not familiar with it in the Republic of Ireland, apart from what I've seen in Wikipedia like a year ago and I can't remember. And then explain what your level of input was and how you got into it and how was it for you, and are you still in it, if you don't mind?
Yeah, no, yeah, but basically, like kind of maybe 4 times a year they call a big public meeting, but they are all the time. So it's, you have your local council that's basically just self-initiated. A bunch of people decide to set up a community council, and then
Okay, so this is outside of the county council. It's
it was just kind of a non-official, community.
okay. Mm-hmm.
People were just kind of nominated and elected, like just through meetings or whatever that, and I just happened to be in there at the right time that the old secretary was retiring or whatever that, so I got in and did the secretary stuff for a bit, and kind of got to see how the corruption starts, because there's 800 people, say, in our community group, and or in our community in general, like, and we're constantly kind of having to lick up to the council to get our fair dues of funding our services, or potholes fixed and all that. And then kind of because of that, you can see the mentality develop where everyone is quite subservient to the local politician, and getting them to write letters and getting them to do little kind of things that really it's their job to do anyway. Like,
it should be the other way around, that they're looking to serve you, shouldn't it? I mean, because like you're the people that put them in power, that give them the opportunity, give them their expenses, or do the county councillors get paid anything, do they, or is it just expenses? Well, certainly it's a kickstart to a political career. So I mean, it's definitely an advantage to them to be a county councillor.
Yeah, actually, there's a million and one ways that, like, yeah, I guess it's connections. I don't know, because it's obviously for a county councillor the wages are only about 15 grand a year, but you make up a lot of that by going to different workshops, I think they're called, or whatever that, and you get paid like about a couple of thousand per one of them you go to, and you kind of end up going to being like the secretariat or the chairman of different groups and stuff like that, and they make money like that as well. So like the whole thing is based on who and making connections, and basically being corrupt, and being able to get things for other people ahead of other people and stuff like that. So sorry, my little doggy has been pure annoying. Would you stop?
No problem.
I was going to say, he's gone far enough away from me that I can't get him now. Like, but what was the point there?
Are you still involved in the county council? Not sorry, the community council. Are you still involved with it?
Yeah, no. I ended up getting kicked off. I tacked into Kenny's office, and they voted me out. Stop.
You attacked or tapped?
Attacked would be probably, well, like, as in basically, what was it? It's right opposite the only nightclub in Castlebar. Like, so like during the height of evictions, like, the first time it happened, like, I'd been at an eviction where a family was being kicked out, and basically a private security firm had come along and put a big metal sheets on their windows while they were still in the house and stuff of this, and we did get them out and get them sheets down eventually, but like, I was riled up after a long day of protesting, and yeah, that evening then I went across to Kenny's office and wrote all over it, and I did sign my name saying that I'd done it, like, but I did that once, and then I did it again, and then I did it a third time. So, but the first time people were like, that's understandable. The second time they found it hilarious. The third time everyone was kind of fairly pissed, like, and unanimous vote to get me off the council. Like, didn't give me a right to appeal as well, which I thought they should have, but look, I left them at it, like, so
you learn, you live in.
Yeah,
that's a good story. That's a good one. Life experience there, man. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Well, I thought maybe you'd go on attacking it with like the way you said it at first. I attacked it like conscious of images of like claw hammers and mallets, but a spray can sounds better in some respects. More Banksy like.
Yeah, which is just a marker. But no, the third time I did punch his window, broke his window with my bare hand. I was just really annoyed, and I was it wasn't really a planned thing. I was just like, I forget what had happened then. It was during the whole kind of collapse period, like, well, the end of his kind of reign, and I'm sure there was like some justification in my head. I'm mostly not violent in intention. I didn't actually really mean to break the window. It was just the vibration of the glass ended up shattering it, like, so. I could have, and since it was my own hand, I could have hurt myself as well. So I thought it was reasonable-ish, like.
Yeah. So it sounds like you accept what happened there, and you wouldn't do that sort of thing again.
No, I got 200 hours. 200 hours community service, which was nearly double as long as the Anglo bankers got. Like, so that's what I always say. Like,
Shocking. No, that's and would you consider going for the county council next time around?
yeah, my whole thing is
I
always
challenge you. I challenge you to go. No, I challenge you to go for the county council next time around to step up to the next level.
The whole thing is it's like, you know, my whole thing is that, you know, I've been involved with like 3 different political groups, campaigning for different people, but I just do think that the democracy as is a waste of time, because no matter how high up you get, you're never going to have support to actually change anything, like, because, you know, it's also corrupt, like, you know. And you know, since most people won't look into a candidate until the week beforehand, all they're seeing is the big posters with the big faces of these different Egypts. And yeah, unfortunately, like 50% of people are just so sheepish that they'll just vote for whoever they see the most, like, you know. So it just seems to be impenetrable. Like, we did fairly well with our candidate for Aintu there at the last election. We actually got like up to 1,700 votes for him, but, like, you know, he did a ridiculous amount of work. We put in, you know, nearly 10,000 euros. Like, you know, there was like a whole army of pro-lifers that were canvassing for him, and, you know, we still, you know, the next top one got 7,000, like, you know. So, you know, he you know, it's just, you basically need the machinery of Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil pulling the strings in the county council behind you to, you know, have the money to be able to actually affect change. Like, you know, people are just so stuck in the mud. I just think we should put our time into developing new democratic systems, like, that use the internet and our own currency and our own kind of social structure, really. And yeah, just this whole thing you were kind of talking about the last year of just having a breakaway society, like, that just organizes its own way. And,
Okay, say a little bit more about that. Let's have that as like the next phase, the next 2-minute phase. So give us more information about what could be possible there, and those and what expanding what you said there in the last 20 seconds, if you wouldn't mind, if you could.
yeah, no worries. Like, yeah, because I'm always loving to talk about my plan thing, but it's kind of called patternism. And it's I'll give a very quick overview. It won't make too much sense, but it's kind of based on the big 5 personality types that's in, you know, the problem with politics is that everyone's looking at it from a different perspective, and that different perspective is basically your temperament. And the big 5 personality types outline the 5 main temperaments or personality types, basically. And, like, you know, just very quickly, not to get into too much, but you have like the scientific minded, you have the research minded, you have the people person minded, you have the construction or agreeable minded, and the neurotic are the 5 personality types. And then they kind of relate to the 5 steps needed to produce any oh, sorry, 1 second. The 5 steps needed. First you have to have an idea, then you have to research, then you have to promote it, then you have to build it, and then you have to analyze it. So you know, that's the core idea, is that instead of getting paid for doing work, you'd get paid for doing work that was related to them big 5 sectors, and that the kind of purpose life then would be to become a rounded person. So if you work in each of them areas over your lifetime, then hopefully you'll have developed like a rounded perspective on life. And yeah, like, you know, and then couple that then with like a new currency that we call kind of flow, and that would have 2 types of 2 modes, which would be a potential and kinetic. So loaned money and actual, like, you know, money with value would be distinct, and people will be able to tell there's actually a lot of loaned money floating around in any society, because obviously that's what causes economic collapses, when there is too much you know, potential out there, and the potential fails. And then with a new kind of democracy, so if everything was online and you could kind of constantly update your opinions on stuff, that a computer algorithm, like not an AI, but just a general kind of computational program, would be able to kind of weigh up how everyone is feeling about certain things. So you'd be able to get like planning permission kind of instantly, and you'd be able to get if there was any tasks or jobs that need doing, they'd be kind of available, and everyone would be able to see them. You know, so the tendering process basically would be open to everyone all the time, and the algorithm would be able to direct the people that were most qualified to them jobs, and if the person then chooses to take up that job, they can go ahead, do it, get paid kinetic money. Or if you want to come up with a project yourself, you can kind of appeal to the community for potential money, go off plan, and go through kind of, I have a good few phases of the process kind of worked out, but you'll be able to like just very transparently go through the democratic process of getting something agreed, and then getting the funding released. And if the project fails, all the money could be withdrawn from the people very quickly. So it kind of curb corruption, because if projects didn't go ahead, everyone would lose out their potential money and it never go on to become this kinetic money. But if a project or like a hospital or a bridge gets built, then we can say that it has that value to the community. So that potential money that was used to make it then becomes kinetic, and basically you can balance the books in that kind of a way. And that's in a nutshell. Basically, just need to develop an app so that people can sign up to it, and then start to kind of use it. And I had kind of funding almost in from the Leader Grant people. I know that's a bit of a contradiction what I was saying earlier, but I was thinking use their own money to destroy their own system. But that kind of fell through in the end. But you could set up community spaces where you'd have like a community of people. People bring up ideas, people register their skills, and then they can go off and do them chores for people, and have this kind of hopefully positive feedback loop of like this local economic trading kind of system working. So yeah, kind of need to. I've about 70 pages written about it. I need to finish the book. Need to build
70.
Yeah.
Okay, so patternism is your term for it, right? Is that right? Patternism is your term for it, or is there?
Yeah.
Is it a term you've inherited?
No, yeah, I just came up. Well, like I just because the ultimate idea would be with this algorithm that you'd have everyone kind of like, and it sounds kind of scary. It sounds like the globalist plan, but like if there's no person in control of it, then it's not really you're detrimental to anyone. If every single person has as much of a vote or a say as anyone else, that it shouldn't be that bad. But yeah, but ultimately you have the global, or you'd have the global. You have the global orientation diagram, which would be like basically sum total of everyone's skills and everyone's ways that they want to go. Like, sorry, the dog here is really wrecking my head. So you basically, you'd have a diagram, of all the different jobs that are ongoing, all the skills that people want to acquire. So you basically all these different paths that people want to take through society, and visualize that basically. I'll get into the visualizations of it again, but so ultimately you have this massive diagram.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Maybe you come back and give us a work on give us like a summary, a 2-minute summary that we can digest, and maybe something that we could. I'd be interested in reading more and hearing more about this. And let's take a round of questions and feedback, and I'll give your wee dog a chance to calm down.
Yeah.
And get some attention.
Conor, if I can interrupt, I love what Liam just said. I think that's a brilliant idea. It's and if you, as you say, if you set up via an app, blockchain app that's non-centralized, you're setting up almost a parallel. How do I put it? A parallel system, social system, or economy, and you're bypassing the main economy, so to speak, that we're all kind of dependent upon. That's assuming I understand it correctly, the way Liam's described it. I'd love to see, Liam, if you've written this down somewhere or anything like that, I'd love to read through it. I think this is a great idea, because as I'm understanding it, it would work on a local basis anyway, initially, and then network out. That's how I'm understanding the system that you're proposing.
Yeah, that's it, 100%. And like in my wildest dreams, that you'd hope that like you could have a bunch of people in Africa using it, a bunch of people in South America using it, and like whatever resources they have or that they kind of can control in their area, then that can kind of become part of the overall pool of resources that the community kind of has. So you could have kind of create situations where you could in some place in Africa where they have lithium, and we could then have access to that to be able to make computers or mobiles.
Well, exactly. So, I mean, you're describe right. So, I'm trying to work it out in my mind, mate. So, if on a local level around where I live, we're creating this kind of network, a mutual network for support and services and foods and goods, etc. And if, as a consequence of that, we want to look into investing into something that we might want to take across a national or international scale, we would be able to go through a path of networks that will be international in order to source certain skills or goods. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, hopefully, like eventually, like that'll be the idea. Yeah. Obviously, on a local scale in Ireland, it'll be initially, like, back in the day, we're talking about just having a polytunnel collective. So you'd have loads of different people with polytunnels all connected up. Each one could just grow their share with everyone else. Like.
That's brilliant, because that's literally building the system from the ground up, as opposed to what we're at the moment, where it's all top down.
Yeah, because I think money systems corrupt like that. There's no real chance of changing the one we have, because whoever's in power will always have the bankers, on their side, and they'll just be able to just, print up as much money as they want to corrupt all the people around them. Like, so until we kind of stop using their money, we're always going to be under their thumb. Like.
Exactly. Also, because you mentioned something about difference between sort of directly earned money and money loaned. Did you say? Or sorry, I missed that bit. Can you describe that bit for me again? Sorry.
Yeah. Mainly just having two types of money, so kinetic and potential. So, like,
right.
And the whole kind of system, have done a lot of work in the background on how economics kind of works as well. Like, they have the Black-Scholes equation, and basically all that is it's the second law of thermodynamics, and they've basically just kind of rammed in all these different economic factors into that, and then said this is what we use to justify the creation of money, and and make predictions on potential economic kind of outcomes. But with my thing, it does incorporate that to some extent, but on a very basic level, it'll just be like electricity, the VIR, voltage equal to current by resistance. And the idea then is that, like, with potential energy and kinetic energy, have like two different uses. Like, so yeah, like, and I think that, because in 2008 that was the major problem, that there was so much loaned money floating around, and even now, obviously, the amount of quantitative easing going on, it's taken away from the value of money in our banks, and we don't even notice it because we don't realize how much money has to be paid back.
Yeah, exactly. Because let's face it, we're paying back. Really, it's just the interest on the loans, as opposed to actual substantive money, isn't it? That's I've got to say, mate, this is one of the best ideas I've had in ages. It's great. Seriously, have you written this down anywhere? Have you written a paper?
Yeah, no, I've together for like literally years, but like people are like, most people I tell to get kind of freaked out, and they're like, oh no, that sounds like what the globalists are doing. And I'm like, it is, but like it's majorly different, like, because of the fact that there's no technocratic leaders. Like, it's just every single person would be completely equal, and over time, different people's. He literally wasn't barking until I started talking again. Like, you fucking
You guys should get in touch with each other, because I can vouch for both of you. I know both of you, and you're both like to me, you're both verified accounts of being in contact with both of you before, so I can say I don't say this for everybody, because if I don't know somebody well enough, I wouldn't encourage people to contact them. But you guys should, because you're both genuine people that I've met before, talked to before. So feel free to contact each other with my encouragement and blessing.
Yeah, Liam, if you put down anywhere, I'd love to read through it and see it, because I think there'd be other people who are really interested in this, because you're basically undermining the very system we're trapped in, and it's a bit like crypto at the moment. Crypto is very dangerous for the establishment because it's decentralized and not being controlled. What you're doing is almost following that pattern, except for on a shall we say, a more social level. But I'm simplifying what you're saying, in fairness. But I'd love to read through any paper you've written up on this, mate. It's really interesting.
Yeah, because
if you just click on it in the.
Go ahead, Conor.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, if you want to contact them, you just click on the person's profile and then send them a message. The other person in here, last week I called. She was the lady promoting the solution that piqued your interest in that first workshop that we did. Liam, you mentioned it to me about you were asking me what for further details. Well, the Frita here, that's last wake up call. That's her who was giving the rundown on that Polstrat solution, which your solution seems to be similar, parallel. It's the same idea, but by another name. A similar sort of idea. So you're probably going to have a lot in common there. So I'd recommend that you guys there's 2 contacts for you. It's up to you. So
Yeah,
not
no,
mandatory.
yeah, I've just been rested on actually putting it out in the first place because just in case it is such a good idea that the globalists go, well, we have to shut this down straight away. But I think now is the optimal time because everyone kind of knows now that the end or huge crash is kind of coming. So yeah, I will kind of give it another look over, and then I'd be happy to share it with whoever's interested. And I kind of have a programmer in mind that will help, and a couple of other kind of people. So it'd be great to kind of get a small but active core group that could kind of just develop it. There's an awful lot of ways routes that haven't really thought out that it kind of goes down. But as long as we could have a kind of a shell ready to go, then it could be a usable thing. And as well, yeah, there is loads of other systems that are similar, like the Ethereum one. I haven't actually got a chance to look at the wake up call ladies proposal either yet. My idea as well. It's just a combination of loads of stuff that I stole from other good ideas that were kind of floating around at the time. So I wouldn't really call it mine particularly anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's you've taken bits and put them. It's more curation, isn't it? Curation of ideas, of other ideas. Combine synthesis of ideas of other people's ideas, and maybe a few adaptations here and there. Great. What about some any piggybacking of those ideas that have been mentioned? Questions, clarifications required? That's to anybody at all, or would anybody like to take up? Got about 10 minutes left. Maybe introduce a new activity, solution, micro solution, planned activity. What's the word you want to?
Yeah, well, actually, we're probably going out canvassing flyer in this weekend anyway. Yeah, we had a good demo on Saturday in Castlebar, whatever that. Probably about 100 people there, overall as over the day. And yeah, and there was a lot of interest in even just having another demo straight away. But we said we'd leave it till the first Saturday in every month. So the next one's on the 5th of June. But yeah, hopefully get a few to go out flying around Castlebar area this weekend.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great to hear. Is that the how many have you had in Castlebar there this year, Liam, would you say?
Well, actually, it was in March, like last year, we actually had a string of about three demonstrations, or maybe even 4 or 5 actually. And then I've been out handing out flyers every other week as well for the last while as well. And yeah, don't get too much back chat around the place. Actually, if anything, I kind of like it when someone does come up because at least they're engaged. The people that are just apathetic are kind of the scariest because you can't even get a flyer into their hand. At least somebody comes up giving out will take the flyer off you and might look into it again, But yeah, so yeah, no, we're definitely going to keep it going now. Yeah, throughout the whole summer anyway, and just try to get people to avoid taking the vax. The fact now it's coming out with Pfizer as well, saying that it really is transmissible, is quite a scary factor as well.
But yeah. Liam, are you aware of the group Ireland in Lockdown voice chat on Telegram? It's got about 3,100 members.
Yeah, I've been on it. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, and it keeps going to 3 o'clock in the morning. We're on it when I talk about 8 hours.
Oh yeah. I've got we must have missed each other like ships in the night because I was on I've been on there. I've discovered it about 2 weeks ago, and that's probably why I'm back here, why I'm here doing this, because like I didn't know you could do voicemail chats or voice chats, I guess, on Telegram till I saw that they were doing it, and thought that was great. But then they weren't doing much in terms of solutions. So I suggested a few times, let's take 10 minutes every hour to talk about solutions. But that just like nobody said, yeah, that's a good idea or anything like that. So I said, right. And then a lot of it is black. There's it's a lot of it is looking at the problem again from the nth level of, from another level of detail instead, and I think, well, just spend 5% or 10% of the time talking about solutions, please. But no, it doesn't happen. And some people actually quash solutions and say, there's no point doing anything. So yeah, that's why I'm here. And thanks, you're the sort of, I'm attracting like-minded people and people that with loads of experience and loads of get up and go. And I think people don't realize that there's so many of us out there. And just having one place, one forum for us to come in and for people to see what we're up to and feed off ideas and whatnot, and just promote the idea of solutions, like in the first place, because not enough people are talking about solutions. Just the idea, even the concept of looking for solutions and dealing with solutions and managing solutions and generating ideas is something that we're not doing enough of at all. Never mind, like trying to refine the solutions, and that's going to come at another stage. At this phase, let's just throw up loads of solutions and get used to promoting solutions, and apply the brainstorming policy to not kill off any solutions and have a sort of like a seed bed, like in horticulture. What's the term? Grow house, a grow house for solutions, and then we'll see which ones last. That we could maybe decide which ones we're going to cultivate. I see Marcus is here talking about solutions. Marcus was going to possibly introduce something. So Marcus, if you'd like to, we've got about 5 minutes left, so that's enough for 2 minutes and a couple of rounds and a round of two questions. So if you wanted to go for it, Marcus.
I just realized I was late. I was just after dinner and then came back and realized I was meant to be on this. So totally unprepared. I'll go ahead and I'll do a pitch if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Please.
So it's probably going to fit into the like-mindedness of what you were talking about there, Conor. And it's essentially...
Lost you.
It's essentially what I am actually putting together is something based on medieval Europe, which is the guild structure. So medieval guilds came to prominence in the Middle Ages, and in particularly after the devastation of the Black Death, that actually killed an awful lot of people across Europe, wiped out families to the point where you might be the only relative left standing. And guilds stepped in. Now, a guild structure was it's funny. It influenced universities, it influenced hospitals, it influenced doctors, and essentially it starts off with so if you're a candle maker, there's a candle makers guild. You have a master of the guild. You have apprentices and journeymen. You start off as an apprentice, you become a journeyman. Once you start off, and this is in medieval times, the whole idea was you came in, you'd learn from the master, become a journeyman, go off and maybe join the guild. You're in Dublin, you go off and join the guild in Belfast. So you're not joining the guild, you're just going as a journeyman to fill in. Maybe somebody's on holidays, you take over, or you're filling in for a master that's gone on holidays himself, or there's training another apprentice, and they go and learn. And when they come back, they do a mastercraft, they become a master, and then the guild continues. Now, the whole idea of guilds was a way they were able to work with the feudal lords and helped actually create not only quality but standards, as well as proper pricing that looked after the communities. And guilds were highly influential. They come from a very Catholic background. This is before Protestantism came in, before Martin Luther arrived on the scene. but they were highly popular. Now, there were some bad, there were some really good, but overall, the guild structure did actually help build Europe out. So today, what I'm doing, I've created, my background, just so you know, I'm from a corporate hack. I have a background in IT, in both hardware and software. I'm also been a technical writer, a project manager, and I also am a qualified master, hold a master's in data business, which is basically gives me the capacity to manage data scientists. So I come from a data science realm as well. So a lot of that has to do with human-centered design research, and a lot of your successes comes from the fact that if you look at your audience, you get an understanding of what they want, you then build those solutions around them, not just building solutions about what you think is the problem. But with that said, that's why I've created a group of my own called the Design Hackers Guild. And it's essentially helping small businesses who have been confronted like this. So some small businesses don't even have their brick and mortar, they don't even have an online presence, they're totally overwhelmed. My group helps them put themselves together so they can do e-commerce and ride the wave between opening when they can and also providing online services in their locality for their community and basically pivoting on what's been thrown at them. So the whole idea of the Design Hackers Guild is teaching people a human-centered approach for designing your business or your enterprise. And not necessarily moving you up through apprentice or journeyman, but the whole principles of the old medieval guilds is to create that sense of community and builds that sense of quality, that price control, and creating groups that actually not only can teach ourselves what to do, but also to lobby for ourselves, whether it be lobbying local governments or lobbying local businesses, bringing communities together and helping each other out. That's my pitch.
Wonderful. The guild would be like a guild of IT professionals.
It can be a guild of IT professionals, but the reason I'm pitching this here is that that model of the guild and the whole idea of a medieval guild structures of the European guilds can be approached for anything. So you can do it for permaculture, for horticulture, for construction. And in times past, if you look into this is how the construction industry, this is how medicine, universities, professions came to being. There's writers' guilds that still exist even today. So it's just basically utilizing that medieval aspect to basically taking what we've left behind, because we abandoned the guild structure. And then we ended up with a bunch of Freemasons running the world and globalizing everything, and now everything's made in China, and we're all suffering for it. So
you got nothing exactly, and there's almost no, what's the word, apprenticeship anymore, is there? You either do a job that doesn't require any training, or you do a job that requires 5 years training, and there seems to be nothing in between, right? So the whole that whole craftsmanship or on but those jobs are still required, and they could be a way to bypass the 5 year and expense, and student loans and get your kids brainwashed up at the local captured university. Yeah, so yeah, I like it. I'm interested. Let's talk again. Thanks. We're out of time, and I know that we've got a busy schedule. There's a busy schedule tonight because Dolores Cahill is talking on Ireland and Lockdown voice chat in half an hour. I think, Liam, you've got a meeting in your group at 8. Is that right?
9.
Liam probably needs
9 o'clock. Yeah.
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 Oh, 9. Okay. So I'm going to try and make that as well.
By the way, I'm going to shut that as well.
You want to say something there, Liam?
Yeah, no, just a Marxist thing there as well. Yeah, I just love that idea as well, and because the idea of peer reviewing stuff, like, so if someone's just good at something, and their work passes the thing, then they're just qualified. At some level, it can speed up the whole education kind of process where people could just jump into what they like, see if they can learn a bit, then work at it, and then just get a qualification based on that, and straight away they're able to do that level of of skill. Like would just take this whole kind of need for exams. They don't really test if you're actually good at what you're learning, like a lot better. Like and as well the kind of medieval thing of being able to follow in your father's footsteps or whatever that. I know that that's what he's not saying exactly, but you know.
But that's the other aspect of it, that being a member of the guild became a familial thing that came out of the Black Death when people started having families again. It was all centered around the guilds, and the guilds were always focused on people. It wasn't the skills; it was the community and making sure that they were able to protect their industries. Make sure that they're good quality, get proper pricing. It was always family focused, and that's a big aspect, because I think that's the biggest thing that we don't really pay attention to, that the family is under attack, and structures like this do actually support the family.
Yeah, and just one quick thing, the Breton Law stuff as well. You know that in Breton Law, if you had 4 generations of unbroken good service in whatever trade that you were working in, you became a noble person. So then all of a sudden that kind of granted you more rights. And
there's a whole conversation we could have about European nobility and how it was screwed over by what the Brits did. But, not just the Brits though, but you know, the whole Reformation thing.
Guys, this is wonderful. Thank you everybody for your contributions. This is it's inspiring stuff, and I've recorded it. If anybody wants a bit removed or your name removed, email me and tell me which bit you want removed, and otherwise I'm going to put this up on YouTube. Just the audio, not the visuals, not the video. I'm just going to put it up with some stills, like some like personal development stills and stuff like that. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yes, we'll do it again tomorrow at 7. Hopefully you'll come back, and it gets better and better every time. Thanks so much. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Conor, and thanks for the opportunity to talk.
Bye.
My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure.
Bye.
All the best, guys. Slán